Streaming on clickorlando.com, you're watching News 6 at 10 p.m.
Remembering Anna, tonight on News 6, a community comes together in unity as investigators look into the death of a teen found dead on a cruise ship.
Plus, a Florida apartment complex facing a lawsuit from FSU linebacker Ethan Pritchard, why his family says the location has a history of danger and crime.
And from prices to convenience, a lot of people in Seminole County say the new Scout Transit program has not been worth the wait.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Matt Austin.
I'm Ginger Gadsden. Tonight, people inside describe it as an emotional evening. The celebration of life for a Brevard County teen found dead on a cruise ship was packed with hundreds of people. News 6 community correspondent Troy Campbell is outside the church where the ceremony was held, speaking with some of the 18-year-old's former classmates. Troy.
Yeah, we're outside the Grove Church in Titusville. We stood out here while that celebration of life was going on. It lasted just more than an hour. We spoke with a couple of Anna's classmates about the scene inside.
Anna Banana was we love her and we forever will love her.
Describe her.
She was energetic, funny.
Former classmates of 18-year-old Anna Kepner speaking out about their friend following her celebration of life ceremony inside the Grove Church on Thursday evening. How would you describe what it was like in there?
Very loving.
Yeah.
Very encouraging. Just to see everybody there supporting each other, like it was just awesome.
You can definitely tell she left her mark.
The family saying the ceremony was meant to remember laughter and love that Anna brought. The parking lot of the church completely filled. And what was it like to see this entire place was filled all for her?
Yeah.
It was amazing, honestly. Like I didn't think she put her mark on that many people. When I got here, it was already packed and I barely had a seat, and I was just like, I almost cried as soon as I walked in.
Investigators say Kepner was found dead on board a Carnival cruise ship on November 7th, one day before it was scheduled to return to Port Miami. CBS News reports the teen's body was discovered by a housekeeper underneath the bed in her stateroom. Although the parents of her 16-year-old stepbrother say they've been told he's the suspect in the FBI investigation into her death, there have been no charges or arrests. How hard has it been since you found out about her passing?
It's been hard. But
really hard.
And those friends we spoke with say they plan to honor Anna's life long after her passing. In Titusville, I'm your community correspondent, Troy Campbell, News 6.
As Troy mentioned, there have been no charges or arrests in the death of Anna Kepner. All week, News 6 has been working to piece together exactly what happened. So tonight, News 6 investigator Mike DeForest is digging into a custody court hearing where the teen's brother is named as a suspect in the death.
Anna Kepner's 16-year-old stepbrother, quote, is a suspect in her death on a Carnival cruise ship. That information is not coming from law enforcement. It's coming from the 16-year-old's parents. Those parents were just in court.
If the court isn't aware that apparently this has been made national news.
This online court hearing involving a child custody case took place just hours before a memorial service honoring Anna Kepner, who was found dead on a Carnival cruise ship. The teen was joined on that cruise by her father, her stepmother, and at least two of her stepmother's children from another marriage, a nearly 9-year-old daughter and 16-year-old son. Those two children were the subject of this court hearing.
Can I speak?
This is Chantel Kepner, the children's mother and Anna Kepner's stepmother. She's in a child custody dispute with her ex-husband, Thomas Hudson, seated on the right. The former couple says their 16-year-old son, quote, is a suspect in his stepsister's death.
Well, Your Honor, it's our understanding that because the cruise was in international waters, that the young child, not the 9-year-old, but the 16-year-old was allowed to drink. The teenagers were given their own room in which to stay. Just a lot of circumstances that showed that the mother in this case was not exercising appropriate supervision over this child or the other child involved.
Chantel Kepner's attorney disputes that.
There are videotapes on the ship that confirm that there was absolutely no drinking and that and DCF investigated and saw that there was no alcohol in mom's house whatsoever. So I'm not sure where that's coming from.
There was no resolution to the child custody dispute, which will be handled at a future court hearing. We did learn that 16-year-old stepbrother was taken to the hospital after the cruise for undisclosed reasons. He is now living with a relative on his mom's side of the family as the FBI investigation continues. Mike DeForest, News 6.
A Florida State football player and Sanford native who survived a shooting in August is now suing the apartment complexes where it all happened. Ethan Pritchard was shot in the head while he was driving his aunt and a 3-year-old to their Tallahassee area apartment. This happened back in August. A complaint obtained by News 6 accuses the property managers at Riverside Apartments and Havana Heights of allowing the suspects in the case to stay there despite a documented history of criminal activity. It says one of the suspects lived there and was accused of illegally owning guns, trafficking narcotics, and causing multiple disturbances on the premises. We've reached out to the property managers named in this lawsuit to ask about these accusations. One person connected to Riverside told us he did not want to comment. And we were there as Pritchard returned home this weekend and told us his recovery includes going to rehab 5 days a week so he can walk again and play football again.
Lots of police lights on Broxton Place off County Road 472 in the Villages this afternoon. The Sumter Sheriff's Office tells us this was all due to a person who barricaded himself inside a home. They have since been taken into custody. We're told people living nearby did voluntarily evacuate while all of this was going on. The moment we get an update about what happened here, we'll let you know. Seminole County's new rideshare service, Scout, promised to make getting around easier, but after a month on the road, riders are running into some problems.
Yeah, like long, unpredictable wait times and higher prices than the bus have some people questioning if Scout is living up to the hype. Our Alex Cook took a ride for himself to see what's really going on.
I saw people complaining online that Scout takes too long to show up and that it's more expensive than riding the bus. So I decided to book a ride myself and see just how long it takes and if it's worth the cost.
$9.50 is the quoted rate. I'll be submitting that expense report to News 6. Almost there. We're getting your ride ready. Looking for a driver. Jeanette has 6 stops before you and will be arriving in 90 to 100 minutes.
So these messages that tell me how long the wait is obviously keep changing and can't really be relied on.
Getting close. It's me.
I requested the ride at 1:58 p.m. At 3:34, the Scout shuttle finally showed up. That's a wait time of 1 hour and 36 minutes. Once aboard, the ride to Sanford was smooth. We just had to pick up another passenger on the way.
How are you doing?
Hey. How you doing? All right. Chuck Carpenter was taking Scout to the Sunrail station to catch a bus to DeLand. His experience waiting for the ride was just like mine.
Today was kind of difficult because I got a ride, it said 35, 45 minutes, then it said 3 minutes, and then there was nothing. It went back up to 35, 45 minutes.
So how long ago was it that you actually requested the ride? Like how long did it take to show up?
An hour and 15 minutes ago, at least, yeah.
He says his past trips were more reliable and understands the delays.
You know, they stay busy, and I think they just need more vehicles is what they need.
I arrived in downtown Sanford at 3:57, almost exactly 2 hours after I requested the ride. How does that compare to ride-sharing apps like Uber?
At 4:17, I requested this ride. We'll see how long it takes me to get back to the Castleberry Library.
My Uber arrived in just 15 minutes, and the time tracker was perfectly accurate. It got me back to the Castleberry Library at 5:05, less than an hour after I requested it. And about half the time Scout took. Uber turned out to be much more expensive, though. The trip cost $30 plus tip, over 3 times the cost of Scout. I asked Seminole County about the delays, and they say they are unveiling new tools to make those estimated wait times more accurate and adjusting driver schedules so more shuttles are on the road during peak hours. Carpenter says today's delays won't keep him from riding.
I think it's an asset to the community, you know? Yeah, so it works out good for a lot of people. And it's affordable, you know? To get the Sunrail, they just charged me $1.50 to get the Sunrail, so it's pretty cheap.
I'm your Castleberry community correspondent, Alex Cook, News 6.
Well, the Trump administration has announced new oil drilling proposals off the coasts of both Florida and California for the first time in decades. The Associated Press says it's part of a push by the president to expand U.S. oil production. The Florida proposal calls for new drilling in the Gulf at least 100 miles from the shore. The federal government hasn't allowed drilling in federal waters in the eastern Gulf since 1995 because of concerns about oil spills. Critics say the project could harm coastal communities and ecosystems. Senator Rick Scott said in a statement, quote, "As Floridians, we know how vital our beautiful beaches and coastal waters are to our state's economy, environment, and way of life. I will always work to keep Florida's shores pristine and protect our national treasures for generations to come." Last week, Scott and Florida's other senator in D.C., Ashley Moody, co-sponsored a bill to maintain a moratorium on offshore drilling, similar to one President Trump signed in 2018. That's when Scott was governor.
The TSA wants to start charging people trying to travel without a real ID. According to a notice published in the Federal Register today, the TSA has proposed an $18 fee for people without that yellow star on their license. The cost will cover the use of a new biometric verification system launching at checkpoints. The fee would cover a 10-day period, so ideally you won't have to pay it again on your return trip. The notice did not give an exact date for when fee collection will begin.
Well, a family already overwhelmed with grief now has another problem to deal with.
The belongings of their deceased mom is gone from her home. Ahead on News 6, we're investigating a family's claim that the items were actually stolen and thrown away.
And we're watching for some fog developing this evening. You see that black color starting to pop up there. That's some of the low-level fog developing tonight. I think we see it more widespread. We're going to pinpoint who's the best shot to see it for your morning commute in a few minutes.
And a local woman arrested in connection to a massive FBI investigation. The former Olympian snowboarder turned drug lord that has officials searching for him in this case. You're watching News 6 at 10. Live on a Thursday night, we're covering Claremont, Potts Inlet, and all of Central Florida.
Right now, the FBI is renewing its calls for help capturing a former Olympic snowboarder turned alleged cocaine kingpin. 44-year-old Ryan Wedding has been compared to a modern-day Pablo Escobar. He's on the FBI's 10 most wanted list, and as CBS's Jonathan Vigliotti explains, he's now facing new charges in connection with the murder of a federal witness.
Accused drug kingpin Ryan Wedding is still on the run, and the charges against him are piling up. The former Olympic snowboarder who competed for Canada in the 2002 Salt Lake City Winter Games now faces new accusations that he helped orchestrate the January murder of a federal witness in Colombia.
He used a Canadian website to post photographs of the witness and his wife in order to locate him, which ultimately succeeded.
11 other people are in custody related to the case. Known as El Jefe, Wedding was indicted last year in connection with a transnational drug trafficking operation. Prosecutors allege he used Southern California as a distribution hub and funneled drugs from Colombia to the U.S. and Canada with the help of Mexican cartels. The Justice Department says his alleged billion-dollar enterprise is the largest distributor of cocaine in Canada. In March, he was added to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list, while the State Department is offering a $15 million reward for information leading to his capture. Jonathan Vigliotti, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Now, one of those others arrested in relation to the case is Juliet Tejada, who is currently behind bars in Seminole County. According to the federal indictment, 2 co-defendants called her and told her to go to Colombia and lure the victim to a place where they would be killed. In return, the co-defendants would pay her mortgage and corrective cosmetic surgery. It's not clear what specific charges she's facing. She's on a federal inmate hold on no bond.
Well, their mom took her own life. It's something 2 sisters are still trying to come to terms with, but what they will not accept is what they found inside their mom's apartment in Ocala. They told News 6 investigator Erica Berguglio their mom's belongings were gone.
Kayla Zisk and Kirsten Dorsey's relationship with their mom was complicated.
It's been very estranged and distant.
But the love was still there. So when they got the call Labor Day weekend that their mom took her own life, they flew to Florida. Their mom, Annette, lived at Silver Forest Apartments here in Ocala. It's operated by Easy Jacks Property Management, which is based in South Florida. Dorsey said she called Easy Jacks ahead of time to let them know she and her sister were coming.
I said, is it possible that you guys can, just close off the apartment until we get there, because we really would like a chance to go through everything and, get some answers as to why this happened, essentially. And she said, absolutely.
Did they give you any indication as to what the state of her apartment was like?
No.
What they got a week later was not an answer.
And there's nothing here. Everything was empty except for some pictures.
It was disappointment.
Nothing here, not a single thing.
Zisk took this cell phone video of her mom's empty apartment. But take a look at this body camera video from Ocala police the week before. When officers found Annette deceased, her apartment looked lived in. You can see a TV, a packed kitchen, and pictures show a laptop and other items scattered throughout the apartment. Back in their mom's now empty apartment, Dorsey and Zisk followed a paper trail of shredded paper to a nearby dumpster.
I reached into the dumpster and pulled out a pile of the papers. We identified her handwriting on some of the shreddings. At some point, they cleaned out the apartment. At some later point, they shredded all of her documents.
Under Florida law, landlords are not allowed to remove a deceased tenant's belongings until at least 60 days from the date of death, although they can enter the apartment to secure it. I reached out to Easy Jacks to try to figure out what happened. In a statement, the company says our, quote, personnel entered the unit solely for the purpose of securing and assessing the premises. All personal belongings were handled with care and in accordance with our internal procedures and applicable Florida laws. While every effort was made to safeguard and preserve items within the unit, it's possible that in the course of the cleanup and securing process, some personal items were inadvertently removed or disposed of. Zisk and Dorsey both filed complaints with the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, as well as Ocala Police. But since this is considered a civil matter, there is nothing police can do, leaving it up to Consumer Services. In Ocala, Erica Berguglio, News 6.
All right, let's send it over to meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. Are we expecting some fog come morning?
Yeah, I think so. We had it in patches this morning. I think we're going to see a little more widespread. We've had it in patches the last few days. Skies are clear. We have a big chunk of high pressure overhead. The winds are calm. That's going to allow us to develop some of that. If you look very closely, it's not that evident now. The satellite can differentiate between the fog at the very low levels and then some of those higher thin clouds that are pushing through. Where you're seeing the very dark colors start to come into play, closer to Denellen, and then also right up and down the I-95 corridor, that's likely going to turn to yellow and eventually turning red over the next couple of hours. That's it, differentiating between the fog and then those other clouds that we have just passing through. Future clouds and rain, not going to show any rain, but it is showing where we're going to see the development of that fog overnight. And then there's 4 to 5 o'clock, so morning commute time. We're going to see it become a little more widespread. You can stay up to date with the forecast, of course, but downloading the free News 6 weather app, that will burn off quickly, and that will make way for more sunshine again with just a few of these higher thin clouds. That's what the white on your screen is at that point of the day for your Friday afternoon and into the evening. Here's a live look, Port Canaveral, Brevard County right now with our Launch Credit Union camera. Air temperatures in the lower 60s, nice and comfy out there. We have a mainly clear sky again. That will help that fog come in. Clear skies, calm winds, perfect conditions for some fog to develop. Hanging around 70 in Orlando right now. Oviedo, we are at 66, 64 degrees in New Smyrna Beach, Denellen. We've already slipped back into the upper 50s. We will wake up in the 50s for us in Denellen, the Villages, back to Wildwood. Holopah will also start the day into the upper 50s. On our way back into the lower 80s again for the third, fourth, fifth straight day now, as we have been a few degrees above where we should be for this time of the year. Nothing too crazy, but comfortably warm. We'll hang around right around 80 degrees along the coast tomorrow. Fast forward to Saturday, Oklahoma State in town facing off UCF. It's going to be Saturday kick at 4 p.m. The very nice weather continues, and again, we keep it through the weekend, and we keep it through the early and the middle stages of next week. We'll turn our attention to some cold front that we've been tracking for a while now, and it's likely going to try to push through Central Florida right around Thanksgiving. Next few days, though, relatively quiet, just watching out for that widespread fog again developing overnight tonight. Another warm, quiet day tomorrow, and then it's all about the timing of the front for Thanksgiving. I don't think this front is very significant in terms of bringing us any kind of rainfall. We have rain chances at 20%. You see most of that rain kind of eroding as it goes down. There's Thursday, Thanksgiving Day at 11 o'clock in the morning with that front pushing through. What it does do, though, you see the white on your screen, it helps to keep some cloud cover around as well. We are still warm. I don't think we have a big intrusion of colder air with that part of the front. It lags a little bit behind, a little bit further. Temperatures over the next couple of days certainly staying on the warmer side. We're in the low 80s through Sunday, back to 82 on Monday, still staying in the low 80s through Wednesday. There's Thanksgiving Day, rain chances at 20%. We're still warm, hanging around 80 degrees. We'll be right back.
President Trump is floating a big idea to tackle housing affordability: 50-year mortgages, loans that would stretch a homeowner's payments across half a century. So what do you think? Good idea or bad idea? The president's endorsement of 50-year mortgages has already sparked a nationwide debate. Mortgage rates recently hit their highest levels in 2 decades, and that has a direct effect on homeowners not moving because they don't want to take on a higher interest rate loan. This is known as being rate locked, and it affects millions of Americans who have mortgages with a 2 to 3% interest rate who don't want to upsize or downsize their home and ends up with a mortgage with a 6 to 7% interest rate. So they're staying put, and the housing supply is choking. Supporters say a 50-year mortgage could lower monthly payments, making a home finally affordable for buyers who have been locked out. But critics say the math tells a different story. Using a typical U.S. home price, about $415,000, extending the loan from 30 years to 50 drops the payment by about $92 a month, but increases the total interest paid by more than $600,000. Yes, $600,000. And there's another problem: equity. Longer loans build equity much more slowly. Most Americans move every 7 to 10 years, meaning many would sell their home without ever gaining meaningful ownership. So, bottom line, 50-year mortgages would offer lower payments, but come with massive long-term costs and slower equity growth. For Dollars and Cents, I'm Donovan Myrie.
All right, thank you for joining us. Find all of tonight's stories plus breaking news on News 6 Plus.
It is free to download to your smart TV or your streaming device. Have yourself a great night.